Good morning. So, on my way to the clinic, I have time to kill. I was thinking about some of the problems with the Disney Star Wars on the philosophical level, and I thought of a couple. The first one was kind of a cringe scene for me from The Force Awakens. And I know that some people, they're like, oh, it's a good movie. Well, it's a total knockoff of A New Hope, but without all the plot that made sense. But at any rate, there's a whole video that somebody did where they made A New Hope as if it was The Force Awakens, and it was pretty funny. But the cringe scene was the one where Rey is strapped to a table and on an incline, and Dopey takes his head off, and his big old ears are sticking out, and everybody realizes that they've purposely cast a kind of a oafish looking man to play this role, and they've revealed the villain, which of course always undoes the tension. And then he says to her, I can take anything I want. Now, the scene is extremely cringeworthy because it's obviously subtext for rape and sexual assault, and it was not an accident the years that it's coming out. She get the Daisy Ridley playing Rey. She gets this look on her face like she's actually being raped, and the scene, of course, is supposed to be saying, I'll use the Force, but it has this sexual hint at it, which is kind of inappropriate for a Star Wars film anyways, especially a family film. And of course, this film wasn't about family. Fathers are being murdered on screen. Thanks, Disney. But just the entire underpinning of that scene it's so cringy. And then I was thinking about it, and she resists him just by getting mad and kind of staring at him. Now, remember, up in the movie, up into that point, she's just a scavenger who inexplicably knows how to fight. I can tell you right now, that's not how it works. You don't know how to fight just because you have a hard upbringing, right? A lot of people, they live in hard upbringing. Doesn't mean that they might be able to scrap, they might be able to brawl, right? Those are things that are natural, and especially for women. Women are not natural brawlers. They have some inherent instinctive ability when it comes to fighting, but as far as like the science of how to fight multiple attackers, as she does in the film, that's not really something that you can do. And also, I don't know if people notice this, but in the film, some guys come in, they're taking the droid who's not her droid, and she assaults them. And we consider this okay. Now, if that happened in real life, people would be saying, hey, lady, what do you think you're doing? Of course, she wouldn't be arrested for it, but at least people would say something. But in the context of the movie, Disney says it's okay for her to take her staff, so she's assaulting these guys with a deadly weapon and attacking them over this droid. The fact that she's able to defeat multiple people, kind of, but now she's in this incline chair and she just starts using the Force. It just starts. There's no connection like in A New Hope, in the first Star Wars movie ever made. Someone unlocks the key for them. Right? Somebody introduces them to that subject and that matter and how to actually do it. She's just sitting there on this incline, feeling like she's being mentally raped, I guess, making this awful face. And meanwhile, Dopey is busy telling us how he's going to do all these things to her. I'm sitting there wondering, is he going to pull her shirt open? What's going to happen here? And then she just starts using the Force. Now, let's talk about the other philosophical problem. This all continues into the second film. The second film, the Last Jedi almost completely is at odds with The Force Awakens, almost completely, but except for the fact that Mary Sue can do anything she wants instantly, up to including beating Luke Skywalker in a duel and speaking Chewbacca-ese, and then explaining to Luke Skywalker what Chewie said. That's the other thing that blows me away. But the real philosophical issue here is that Disney doesn't understand, and I guess most people don't understand, what the Force is. Either they didn't understand it from the first films, or they never did any studies, or they didn't just think about it. Why is it called the Force? Literally, it lifts and moves things in the original Star Wars trilogy. You can use it in the prequels. There's some use like making you move fast, obviously harnessing the Force itself into lightning, because the Force is electromagnetism. There's many references to electricity, electronics, electromagnetism in the original trilogy. But in this film, apparently the Force means I can force myself upon you. So underneath, this is all subtext, underneath of the demonstration that we have on the film is this implication that the Force is no longer about the Force, but is instead about personal power. Now, in the Chinese sciences, we do have a shift. Like, there is a way, Tao, Qi, Li, and Jin are all kind of connected, but it's not like an equivalency. Like, you can't just say because you have Fa Jin, that means you have Dao De. And you can't say that because you follow the way, you can't even say that you automatically have De, let alone that you circulate your Qi, let alone that you understand Jin. And many Tai Chi instructors have proven that just because they have Jin does not mean that they have the ability to have Li and use it in a fight. So to change the Force on screen to be this kind of like, I'm going to come in and pull things out of your brain, that's not how it works. Otherwise, Darth Vader in the very first one wouldn't have used a probe droid or an interrogator droid, right? Why would he use an interrogator droid? There's an entire scene dedicated between him and Tarkin talking about how it will be some time before we can extract the information we want from her. Why wouldn't he just go and then get it? Because that's not how that works. And it's a little bit insulting that's how they changed it. Then in the Last Jedi, then it becomes like in the movie Inception, there's holes with magic mirrors down in them that don't even follow the physics of light, right? When one head turns, they turn in order instead of all at once. That's not how mirrors work at all, if anybody who's spent any time around mirrors. So here we have pure magic, right? It's just like Harry Potter stuff. And then the Force is able to make people see each other from one screen to another. Now, think about this. How would it be possible to actually have that? Is there like a floating screen? They're seeing each other across the infinite span of the universe instantly. There's no lag due to light speed, which has always been a problem in the Star Wars verse. There's a solution for the communicators, though, quantum entanglement. But they're instantly seeing each other. How? Well, Snoke made it possible. Well, then you don't even get to know who Snoke is and why he's a big deal at all. So there's really actually no explanation. So in other words, it's a Deus ex machina. It's not good writing, because no good movie can use Deus ex machina and be considered cleverly written. So I just thought I would point out that there were some deep philosophical problems, not only with the force, but also about the self-defense thing. It's actually, in my opinion, quite dangerous to tell entire generations of young women that if they just go and like go from to, then that will stop the rapes. That's not what stops the rapes. What stops the rapes is you learn how to defend yourself. You don't allow yourself into situations that are going to be potentially dangerous. And, of course, carry a firearm, knife, pepper spray, stun gun. Learn how to kick them in the groin. Don't just lay there. That is not a defense. And it is really sad to see our society teaching young women that just getting angry is self-defense. It's not. It's not even close to self-defense. And so there's an internal inconsistency. If she was a actual fighter, then that's not the way that she would defend herself the entire time. I mean, literally the scene before that, she swoons. She swooned in the scene before. The Force made her swoon. I've never seen that in any Star Wars ever. Why? Because up until Disney took it over and used it for an agenda piece, the Force was always about a binding, actual physical force that made things move and change. And I don't see anybody I don't see any of the fanboys with multiple hatred talking about this. This is a real problem because it's programming, it's mass programming of entire generations incorrectly. Anyways, I'm here at the clinic now. Let me know what you think about these thoughts. And if I'm off base or you feel I'm off base, feel free to post below, like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.